Last class, we talked all about the protein group, and today we'll be talking about another group from my plate. Your clue for the group today are bones. Which group helps our bones to be strong? Our dairy group. Our dairy group not only strengthens our bones, but it also strengthens our teeth. And these are some really important things in our body so that we can function properly. Think if your body didn't have strong, healthy bones. You wouldn't be able to run or walk. Even sitting requires bone action. And the strength of your bone will not only impact you right now, but especially as you get older. Your bones have tiny little holes. If you're able to look under a microscope, you'll see that your bones almost look a little lace-like with lots of little lines and lots of holes. And what happens in those holes is calcium is stored for later years. Your body begins storing calcium when you are a child, and it continues to store calcium until you reach about the age of 21. When your body stops growing, your body stops absorbing calcium, and that's all the calcium you have for the rest of your life. While you're eating as a child and as an adult, if you are unable to get enough calcium that day, your body will take the calcium from your bones because your body has a lot of different processes that require calcium, including your nervous system, which helps your brain to function and to send to the different synapses throughout your body. Calcium is crucial, and having enough of it can prevent chronic diseases later in your life. If you were to look at a bone under a microscope, it may look something similar to this. Lots of little holes, and this is where the calcium is stored. Imagine it kind of like a piggy bank that you can store money in, and as you get older or find something you want to buy, you can use the money from that piggy bank. Now, if your body doesn't get enough calcium, it can begin to look like this as you get older, and you would develop a certain type of disease called osteoporosis. And osteoporosis is basically fragile, brittle bones. If you've ever known an elderly person to trip over a rug or fall out of a car or out of their bed, they can break their pelvis, shatter large bones that normally wouldn't be broken, but their body doesn't have enough calcium in it, which means their bones look more like this and less like this. Obviously, these bones are going to break much easier, and having enough calcium at your crucial age will make your bone look less like this and more like this, so that you're strong and healthy and have the bone strength you need to help you as you grow and develop. Now, bone strength can look different in different phases of your life. When you're a baby and you're born, your bones are very fragile. They're almost elastic and easily broken. But as you grow, they grow both long ways and thick ways and look more like this. Obviously, this bone is going to be less broken than these flimsy bones, right? And how we can add strength and durability to those bones is by getting enough food with calcium and vitamin D. And these foods can be found in the dairy group. Now, the dairy group contains foods with calcium and vitamin D. And most of these foods come from milk, which contains lactose. If you've ever heard, or maybe you know someone that is lactose intolerant, what this means is their body is unable to break down lactose. And lactose is milk sugar. This milk sugar gives your body energy, and it's a natural source of sugar. So your body needs sugar to function. It's healthier to get it in those natural forms like lactose and fructose that comes from fruit, just like it sounds. So fructose and lactose are healthy, natural ways to get sugar to give your body energy. But if your body is unable to break down lactose, you can become lactose intolerant. And what happens is when you eat that dairy food, your stomach can't break it down and you get gassy and diarrhea and really bad stomach problems. So you would need to get calcium in different sources. Even if someone is lactose intolerant, they can't break down lactose, but their bones still have to have calcium. Their bones are still the same as a person that is not lactose intolerant. They can get their calcium from different sources like salmon and broccoli, soy milk, edamame, and there's lots of different foods on the market that can make it easier for these people to get calcium. It's still just as important for them to get calcium as it is for people that can break down lactose. Calcium is a crucial mineral that your body must have while you're a child, and especially when you get older. Super important. Now let's take a look at what calcium really does for our bodies. How does it make our bones stronger? Let's take a look at this little clip to help you see the importance of calcium and why it's important for your bones.
In the dairy group are foods that are made with milk, such as cheese and yogurt. Dairy foods are important for healthy bones and teeth. Just like meat, fish and eggs, dairy foods are a good source of protein. But they also contain a mineral called calcium, which is very important for our bones and teeth. Almost all of the calcium in our bodies is stored in our bones and helps to make them strong. Why do you think it's important to have strong bones? Our skeletons give our bodies their shape, hold us up, and protect our insides. With the help of our muscles, our skeletons also help us move. Our bones do most of their growing when we are young. So it's especially important for children to get plenty of calcium so that we grow up with strong bones. Dairy isn't the only food group that contains calcium. It can also be found in green leafy vegetables, such as cabbage, and in a food called tofu. What are your favourite dairy foods? Perhaps you like yogurt at breakfast time, cheese in your sandwich, or a glass of milk to drink.
You were able to see foods that belong in this group, as well as those sources we talked about for people that are lactose intolerant. Again, calcium is super important, and the dairy food is an easy way that you can get enough calcium each day. Your body should have 3 servings of dairy food a day, and this amount and serving size looks different depending on the food. For instance, ice cream. Now, this wouldn't be our best option to have every day, but we do get some calcium and vitamin D from this source. 1 serving size of ice cream looks like a half of a cup. And a way that we can see what 1/2 cup serving looks like is about the size of half of a baseball. And you can see that from this model here. 1/2 of a baseball is 1 serving of ice cream. You're probably wishing that 1 serving of ice cream was like 2 or 3 cups. I agree with you, but unfortunately, a half a cup constitutes 1 serving. It gives us calcium and vitamin D and gives us added sugar and not too much of it. Now, when it comes to milk and yogurt, 1 serving size looks similar. It is 1 cup. So a good way to tell what 1 cup serving size looks like is, again, like a baseball. So having about 1 baseball size of milk or yogurt when you sit down to have a meal will give you 1 serving of the dairy food and give you enough of that calcium. Cheese is another one that belongs in this group, and it's a little tricky. Cheese can look cubed, it can look sliced, it can also come in a cheese stick form or in shredded cheese form, right? So it's obviously gonna look different depending on the serving size. 1 serving size of shredded cheese is 1/3 of a cup. So about 1/3 of a baseball. And when we're looking at solid cheeses, 1 ounce is about what we want to measure, and that it looks like 2 plain dice. So when you're having maybe some cheese with crackers, keep that in mind. If you're having a lot of cheese, you're gonna get a lot of calcium and vitamin D, but you're also getting some negative things. Cheese also contains salt and cholesterol and fat. So that comes along with a dairy group, which is why a serving of dairy group is not very much. We only need 3 servings a day. And my favorite way to remember this small serving amount is just curling my fingers together like I'm drinking milk. And that's how I remember 3 servings a day. Now, these serving sizes can look much different from day to day. It could look like yogurt for breakfast, cheese with your lunch, maybe some ice cream for dessert, or it could be simple. It could look like milk for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Really, it can look any way. 3 servings is not hard to do. It's a very simple action that you can take to strengthen your bones and strengthen your future health. Really a simple thing you can do each day. Now let's talk about another group that needs a crucial amount of calcium, and that is astronauts. Astronauts are up in space, and they also need to have calcium for their bones to be strengthened. Another way that we can strengthen our bones along with the dairy group and getting calcium is impact. Your bones get strengthened as they're used. So jumping exercises, weight-bearing exercises, they cause your bone to break down and rebuild, making them thicker and stronger. When astronauts are in space, they don't have gravity pulling down on their bones. So let's take a look at what astronauts have to do to keep their bones strong.
Do astronauts need calcium in space?
I'm told to drink milk for calcium. Can't astronauts drink milk too?
Astronauts don't have refrigerators in space to store milk, but they can still get calcium with a good diet.
I heard astronauts may need more calcium in space. Why?
In space, bones don't have to support as much as on Earth. Your body believes bones don't need as much calcium. Some of the calcium is taken out of the bones and is excreted from the body. NASA knows exercise in space helps keep an astronaut's body and bones strong like on Earth.
Quite interesting, right? Calcium really does make a huge impact on your bone health. And to show you, let me show you a little experiment that I did. I have a chicken bone here with me that I've washed off, and all the chicken meat is removed, and it's a solid, strong bone. I couldn't break it really easily at all. It's very strong. Now, what makes this bone strong, like we talked about earlier, calcium. Calcium is what makes this bone strong, and without calcium, it's not strong at all. I have another chicken bone from the same meal that I took, rinsed off, and I stuck in this jar. In this jar, I added vinegar. Now, what vinegar does is it's super acidic. So the acidity from the vinegar leaches out the calcium from within the bone and causes the calcium to completely leave. So now I'm left with this chicken bone that's been sitting in vinegar for a week, and it's gonna stink. But it's going to let you see what a bone looks like if it doesn't have any calcium. It stinks really bad. Oh, okay, so here's my bone. You can already see by looking at it that it looks a lot different. Do you see it kind of looks rubbery? Look what happens when I try to bend this bone. Can you hear it sloshing around? There is no strength to this bone. Do you see how easily I just broke that bone? So easy. It just turned rubbery and gooey, and there's no calcium left in this bone. No strength at all. Can you imagine an astronaut when they come home and having these bones that break so easy? They just become rubbery and flimsy. When an astronaut comes home, and of course, depending on how long they've been in space, they have to do a lot of precautions to rebuild calcium in their bones and a lot of different things to strengthen their bones, both while they're in space and when they return. Because bones without calcium are pointless, and bones are so important for literally every function and everything you do. Sitting in a desk, writing, you use your bones of your body. All the things and actions that you do every day require bone strength. So focusing right now while you're young on adding a little extra attention to your bone strength will impact not only your now, but also in your future. So important. Today we're going to be making a recipe using yogurt, which belongs in the dairy group. We'll use other foods from my plate to help spruce up this yogurt and make it more enjoyable. But remember, 3 servings is all you need a day. Let's make this healthy recipe, and you can show it to your family at home and teach them the importance of having calcium and vitamin D throughout their day to strengthen their bones and their health. Today for our snack demonstration, we're going to be making yogurt parfaits. This is probably a recipe you've made before. It's very simple, but I want to show you how versatile it is and how you really can create any delicious combination. So to make a yogurt parfait, if you're not familiar, first you obviously need yogurt, and I have lots of different flavors of yogurt here that would each be delicious and really can be on your preference, what type you would prefer to have. Now remember that the healthiest option would be plain yogurt, and the reason for this is plain yogurt doesn't have any added sugar. So it's our healthiest option, right? It's giving us all the calcium and vitamins of yogurt without all the added sugar, which is bad for our teeth and obviously not good for our bones either. But flavored yogurt is also a tasty way that we can add flavor to our parfait if you don't prefer that tartness of the plain yogurt. But this one is a great way you can sweeten up with the additives to what you're making in your parfait. A great thing to add to a yogurt parfait is different type of fruits. And I did a combination of different foods here. I have frozen strawberries, so you can do food that's out of your freezer if fruit's too expensive and not in season, or if you just have fruit in your freezer at all times, you always can make a parfait. So I have frozen strawberries and frozen blueberries, and then I also have these little mandarin oranges, and these can come fresh and they can also come from a can. So you can get fruit to add sweetness to your parfait without having to be too particular of where you're getting your fruit source from. And then I have some granola, which is my favorite to add to fruit parfaits. But you also have the option of adding like some cereal. These are some frosted covered Cheerios, and they would also be really tasty in a yogurt parfait, and it's just adding a little bite, a little bit of texture to it, and just kind of making it a little more interesting. And then I also have some protein foods that we're going to be adding to our parfait. I have some chia seeds, and these are just little black chia seeds, and these have a lot of protein in them, and they're vegetarian and vegan if you or someone that's making this food would want to prevent and getting some protein added in there too. And I also have some peanut butter as well. Now, peanut butter might seem a little odd, and with certain flavors it probably would taste a little gross, but you could do plain yogurt and sweeten it with peanut butter and maybe a drizzle of honey, and maybe you could add some fruit and it would be kind of like a peanut butter and jelly parfait. So you can be super creative here. Anything you have at home. Coconut's another yummy thing you could add. I don't know, you really can be as creative as the things you have at home. You just mostly need to have some yogurt for your dairy, which is your base, and then you can add and experiment and see things that taste good. I also have a glass cup, which you don't have to have, but you can layer it and make it look really pretty. So if you want to try that, then you can. I think I have, let's see, strawberry, blueberry, cherry, and plain. I think I'm gonna do strawberry yogurt today. This is my favorite kind of yogurt. So I'm just going to spoon some of this yogurt into my cup and then just start layering different things. And I can do this in any way, in any pattern I want. I'm gonna add some strawberries first and maybe some granola. And I think I'm gonna add some chia seeds here. They don't really have a lot of flavor, but they do add kind of a crunchy bite. It's kind of like poppy seeds in a poppy seed muffin. They just add a little crunch, but they don't really add any flavor. So there's my first layer. Now I'm going to spoon on another layer, do some more strawberry, and you could even alternate flavors here, maybe doing blueberry next, or plain yogurt. You could just be as creative as you want. Now I'm gonna add some blueberries to this layer, maybe some of these frosted Cheerios too. Add a little sweetness and a little crunch. And I think I'm gonna skip protein for this one. Let's go back and do another layer. More strawberry yogurt. I'm gonna add some oranges and break them up so they're a little easier to eat. And maybe a few more strawberries just because I have them in my bowl. So maybe you can think of foods that you already have at your house that you could create this for a healthy snack. And yogurt is super inexpensive. You can buy 2 of these for $1, or one of these is a couple dollars, and it has, let's see how many cups here. It has like 10 cups added into here. So that's a lot of yogurt for a lot of different snacks. And maybe a little mix here. I'll do some granola, some cereal, some chia seeds, and look how pretty that looks. All different kinds of colors and flavors and textures. Super delicious. And again, you can be as creative as you want to be here. Maybe you can try one combination and then the next day try a different combination and see which are some of your favorites. Granola is my favorite. Maybe you'll like granola too, and maybe you'll like something else added to your yogurt parfait. Along with eating dairy foods to make our bones strong and healthy, exercise also plays a very important role. So let's talk about an exercise that we can do outside to strengthen our bones, along with this yummy recipe you can try at home. Today for your outdoor activity, we will be having a jumping competition. Remember, jumping is a great exercise that adds impact and strength to your bones. So along with eating dairy foods and practicing our healthy recipe, jumping is another way that we can add strength to our bones. And so we will be competing against people in your class for who is the highest jumper. The class will be split in 2 girls and boys, and they will compete against one another for the winning person. So you'll be paired up in groups, and you'll be given a marker from the PE teacher, and you will jump and see who can place their marker the highest. The winner out of 3 jumps will progress to the next level, and the levels will continue until there are 2 people remaining. The highest jumping boy and the highest jumping girl in the class will receive a prize for their strong bone efforts, and hopefully you can practice doing these jumps and exercises at home to add strength to your bones from the dairy group and also from adding exercise from jumping. So let's head outside and practice this important exercise to strengthen our bones.